perspective. From Danzig to death, to Dark Throne to Dr. Shrinker. Buckle up, things are about to get heavy. This is the Metal Podcast. Let's rock and roll.
And welcome to another edition of the Metal Podcast. No fancy intros this week. I am AC, joined by, as always, the lovable DJ. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm fantastic and excited to get going. How are you?
I'm very good. And we have another guest, black metal legend, Lord Ahriman. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty all right, thank you.
You know, again, thanks for coming on. And what have you been listening to lately?
Oh, well, I usually don't listen to much black metal these days, but I've been listening to lots of, Judas Priest released 2 new songs.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to lots of DU, 69 Eyes, Testament. I'm still listening to the bands that I grew up listening to in the 80s. Those bands are still, close to my heart.
That's kind of what I've been doing. I've been regressing because like DJ and I used to do the black metal when we were younger. And as I've gotten older, I've just kind of, I guess my heart has softened. I'm going with the Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Motorhead. That's generally where my gym playlist takes me. So what have you been working on as far as personal or professional?
Oh, well, I got like million projects going on all the time. Right now I'm in a position I'm like, okay, I gotta focus on one thing to finish it, because now I got too much things going on that I can't really complete anything, it feels. But today and yesterday I've been start laying out some ideas for new music, Dark Funeral. And I got some stuff recorded which sounds a little bit different, but really inspiring. So,
wow.
Other than that, I'm working on some other projects. We got I put together some new merchandise t-shirt designs, 3 of them. Guess they're coming out soon. And there's always small things going on. And I'm trying to get back working out at the gym also, trying to get back in shape. So,
well, it's always tough because you've been touring for forever now. I mean, do you get a little break now? How do you even manage your health on the road? I could only imagine.
Yeah, well, the last year have been a little bit more different than normally. I mean, normally I work out when I'm on tour, or at least try to go out running or take long walks. But the last year when we've been touring, I went through 2 hernia surgeries.
Oh my goodness!
No.
And,
so it's been like, so I've been like, healing at the same time I've been on tour. In and out, quick surgery, back out on the road. And naturally, I haven't been able to work out, during that time. So now I'm really fighting hard to get back in shape, after all the setbacks. It's tough, but, I'm determined and, I got to take it step by step. There's no rush, as long as I keep, pushing.
Definitely. And kind of like what you were saying, kind of like being so spread out, it's better to focus, get you healthy, but I know you can't just take time off the tour. I mean, that's incredible to keep. I mean, people complain about so much less. I can't believe you were able to still go out there every night. Wow, that's amazing, man. That's that's incredible.
Yeah, well, I had 3 big tours and and before the first one, I had 1 surgery, 1 hernia, and then I got another one. So in between 2 tours, I managed to get a, last minute appointment to get quick surgery, and then 3 weeks recovery, and then I was back on stage again. So it was kind of a tough period, but I managed to complete the tours at least, and the tours was fantastic. Just sucks that some days it was like I just got to try and get through the day to, so I can get back to bed. Basically.
Yeah, like were you in pain? I imagine this doesn't sound too comfortable, right?
Well, I wasn't in much pain, but I mean, it depends on how much I moved. That's why I maybe was kind of stiff on stage, but that was because I couldn't really move much. Because every movement I did hurt pretty well. So yeah, now I'm all good. So
okay.
The doctor said that there's no limitation. That's why since the last couple of months I've been trying to sort everything, but also got some I got to work on certain muscles to make sure I don't get the third fucking hernia. That
oh my god,
would be horrible.
But full recovery though. No more restrictions. You're good to go.
Yeah. I checked as soon as I came back from the last tour. I went out and did a scan at the hospital, and when I got the answer, they were like, "Okay, you're all good. Just no limitation anymore. It's healed really well. It's probably going to be still a little bit painful for the next couple of months or 6 months or so, but it's healed up well." So.
And when you go to the hospital, do you go in full armor and corpse paint?
No, of course not.
Maybe scare a little honesty into the doctors might help. So,
I'm still a pretty big guy, so
big Viking.
I get to stare when I come walking there. Anyway,
yeah, good. I'm glad
yeah, I saw some pictures of you performing with Cavalera, and I'm like, is this guy like 8 feet tall? I mean, you're a big, tall dude.
I'm a big guy.
And how was that experience being performing with Cavalera?
Amazing. I know those guys for a while, so
okay.
But and the last time they asked me to play, I wasn't ready. I got too short notice. But this time I got some time to practice. If I do something like that, it's got to be special, and I got to make sure I play it well. I don't want to screw up anything. So, but I was a huge fan, and I still like the old stuff and the new stuff they do. But I was a huge fan in the 80s, and to be able to grow up with a band that I liked so much so long time. When I was a kid. Then suddenly go up on stage and play with them. That's pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And Igor and Max is fucking amazing persons, and we're really good friends. So
yeah, that's amazing. I'm sure they were more than pleased to have you join them. Like it was a combination.
Yeah, I guess they were excited as I was. But that's the cool thing. When you can do stuff like this, but it's not going to happen too often. I mean, if I do it, it's got to be something really, really special, and it's got to mean something very special to me. So this was the first time I ever, did a guest play like that. So
wow,
we'll see if it happens again or when. It depends if there's, it's got to be a special band that if I'm going to do it again.
What if ABBA asked you to play guitar with them?
I don't know. It depends on the circumstances.
Well, do you like ABBA? Because we had Andy LaRock on here, and then he said, "Oh yeah, when I was younger, ABBA, oh they suck, they're lame." But now, as I've gotten older, I appreciate them. So,
well, I guess I don't really listen to them that much. But I mean, I'm Swedish. I grew, it was inventable to not hear them on the radio when you grew up. They were everywhere. But it's they still kind of timeless music, whether you like it or not. It's still kind of amazing how they were fucking way ahead of time with what they were doing, and that music still, works today, and it's amazing.
Well, I'd say that you found yourself in that level of timelessness too, because there's been plenty of black metal bands that have came and went. And here you are still standing. And you are the, as far as I know, the primary and sole songwriter. So you have written, or at least co-written, I don't want to step on anyone else's toes if they've written songs, but your name is attached to every Dark Funeral song. Since 94 was your first release, and your latest was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you listen to
It's
when you pick up your guitar? Like, I got to write a new song. Like, what do you go to?
well, I go to to my inner self. It's all what's inside of me that comes out. And I mean, I'm chasing the notes that I hear in my head. It's hard to describe, but I'm looking for that feeling, in every note that I put together, and it gives me some kind of relief and feeling of complete freedom. Entering my own world.
Wow.
What do you have a favorite song, Dark Funeral or otherwise?
Well, I mean, it's like with every record, at the time they are written, there's certain songs that, means more personal to me than others, maybe. But for each album, at the moment, the last record is obviously where I'm in life and spiritually at the moment. So, yeah, so there's songs from the, I would say maybe When I'm Gone is a very, strong song to me.
And that's from We Are the Apocalypse.
On the last record. Yeah. I mean, the last record represents me where I'm at this point of time in life and as a songwriter. So that's why those songs are naturally closer to me at the moment. But of course, the older records, this song from every record that means certain things from that time. But I'm not one of those guys that look much back in time. I look forward. So what's done, the old records, they're all, I'm already a couple of years ahead, in my head.
And are you working on the next Dark Funeral record, or just personal songs that you've been writing?
No, it's Dark Funeral, of course.
Okay. And
so
do you look
I got a few ideas recorded, but I mean, it's still so much work left. But at least I'll start, recording some stuff. So
you have a tour planned, or is it get the record done first and then go from there?
No, we're going to be touring for the next year or two. But when I'm home, I'm going to try and write as much as possible. But we're already working on festivals and tours for next year, and so we'll see when everything's ready to be announced. But I guess when everything starts rolling again, it's going to be a busy schedule on the road. So.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Greece
sure sounds like it.
Greece, Athens, Greece. That's your upcoming tour, or upcoming, I guess, appearance. I don't know if that's the tour or just festival appearance.
No, it's going to be a few more shows connected to that gig, I guess. At least that's what they are talking about. Nothing is 100% confirmed, but we're discussing tours pretty much all around the world. More US touring, Asia, South America, Australia. So we're open for any and all offers at the moment, and I know our booking agencies are busy working on things. So we'll see what we land and what's happened.
Do you have a favorite place to play? Not like a specific venue, but location, like geographical area.
Well, recently things have been going really well for us in the US, and we've been touring a lot in the US. So I really, I enjoy being in the US.
Well, yeah, I hope you guys can come
and also
soon.
Canada.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah. I guess we've been touring mostly in the US the last couple of years. So that's become a very good and strong market for us. And I enjoy, just being there.
Okay, I was going to ask, do you notice any like differences between the different states in the United States, or you just sound like you're just happy to play there, and that people are generally nice to you in the band? I mean, I hope so at least. But how's your
I
experience
mean,
kind of
we have
been?
an amazing. Yeah, it's been that's why I like touring the
Cool.
U.S. But it's also more convenient to tour the U.S. than another continent. The country is built by roads and truck stops and stuff like that. So it's more convenient to tour in the US than anywhere else.
Interesting.
So that's also why it makes it so nice to tour in the US. But of course the crowd have been fantastic, and I got no complaints.
Oh, that's amazing.
What do you prefer, Los Angeles or New York?
Well, I wouldn't pick any of them because we have amazing crowd in both of the cities.
Good answer.
How about the weather? You're a big
it's also
Swede.
true. Well, California weather is always nice.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if you were one of those that you dwell in the sub-zero temperatures. So your favorite place is like the North Pole. That's your favorite place to tour.
Well, I grew up in the north part of Sweden, so I've done my share of cold weather and snow.
Yeah,
we have a lot of snow, and it's -5 Celsius here in Stockholm at the moment.
No, I don't do that. Oh my gosh, yeah. I like the sun year round. So California, that's probably my favorite one.
Yeah, because I know some people that they grow up in the snow and they get accustomed to it, but other people they don't like waking up and having to shovel their driveway and to salt the roads. I just don't know. I'm curious as to people's regional preferences, because you've literally been all over the world, so you can actually vouch for, well, this place is like this and this weather's like this, so you can find your comfort zone, where someone who's lived this whole life in California, he might say, I like the sun, but he's never had a winter in the snow.
No, but I think, I always used to say, of course, it's, when it's cold as fuck like it is now in Stockholm, of course, you miss the summer, warm weather and so on. But I always say that, I mean, it's still good that we got 4 seasons in Sweden, and I kind of there's a reason why, it's a good reason why why we can appreciate the summer maybe more than others, because we have a couple of months with fucking darkness, cold, snow, and then you got a few fucking months with warm weather, so you can really appreciate that those few months every year. But of course, for me, I can extend that when I travel a lot and go to warmer continents.
Yeah,
so some years I have more summer all around the year than if I would have been at home.
Yeah, you could book your tours that way too. Like this winter, we're going to Brazil. Why not? Who's your?
Oh yeah, that's what we do.
That's true. It's funny.
we plan everything careful. Okay, now we can extend the summer for 3 months. Let's do it.
Keep going.
They're manipulating time, AC.
So, of course, it's there's some planning.
That's really funny. Yep. But why not, right? I mean, you guys, you've been around.
You earned it.
Since 93, 30 years. Have you guys done like a 30-year anniversary? Sorry if I'm late to the party, or how does that kind of work, or just to enjoy the moment? It seems like you don't really bask in the past.
Well, we didn't really do like any major 30 years anniversary shows or anything. Wish maybe we had planned that a little bit more better and done something really huge, but I mean, we can. We're planning to go even bigger anyway. So,
heck yeah.
The coming tours are probably going to be the biggest we've done, production wise and so on.
Wow.
So we have lots of plans. So we're still, growing as a band. We're still trying to push everything, going bigger, better, and on all territories. So
Yeah, and
That's
you're
amazing that you're not content, you know. Sorry, I see what you're gonna say.
no, I was just gonna say, like, you guys are still young. Like, Rolling Stones were, they're never gonna stop. Like you're in your infant years still. You got
well,
plenty more ahead of you.
well, I say as long as you have inspiration for the music and the stage show and all that, everything around the band, then why not just keep going? And I find a lot of inspiration, and I don't know, but I just have ideas all the time, how to do things. I get ideas, for new things, to bring into the band, and also for the songwriting, trying to improve that and try different things. So as soon, as soon as I feel inspired, I will just keep on going.
What do you do to keep from getting burned out? What are your not, unless you just only do music and that's what you love, which, if that's what you do, good on you. But what do you do stuff outside of music? Do you like bobsledding or like hiking or something?
Well, hiking, I guess I used to, I have a forest and a lake nearby where I live, so I used to be out walking there a lot. Listen to music, spinning ideas,
Mm.
But the band and the music is my life, so and that's where my interest is. So I'm kind of fortunate to be able to do what I enjoy the most.
Well,
Yeah, that
And
makes
also
sense.
work naturally I work with design too, since I take care of most of the band merchandise, and also have my own signature brand that I'm trying to build up, and I'm working on lots of different designs for that. So that's my main two interests: design and music.
yeah, you are a very hardworking guy, and I think a lot of people don't really appreciate that, because we still have a lot of people that they're phoning it in. They go, okay, time to put out a new record. Okay, I guess we got to write a song, and it just feels like an obligation. Like, you sounds like you genuinely love it, and this is your life.
Yeah, it is my life. But when it comes to songwriting, it's like it's not like I write music every day or so. It's I got to be at a certain place, mentally before I can dive into where I want to go with new music. And usually I take care of most of the business also. So when it's too much touring and things going on, there's no time for me to even think about songwriting. So I got to take things things one thing at a time. Now we are home for a while. That's why I felt like time to start looking into some new music, since I have some ideas that I'm working on already. So we'll see. But it's yeah, I've been sitting for 2 days now, and I haven't put down so much new stuff, but at least something is happening.
Okay, well, I want to ask you about two bands. Now, I don't don't misunderstand me. I'm not asking you to like spill some like personal drama or anything. But two bands, I think they started as one thing and then they just kind of went in a completely different direction. One, I don't know why. The other, I'm pretty sure I know why, and it would be Satyricon and Dark Throne. So I had Dark Throne on the brain. So I had that Freudian slip earlier. Because Dark Throne's, their classic release, we'd say, is Transylvanian Hunger. But the first release, Soulside Journey, that it's a pretty standard death metal sounding record. But in their later years, they almost turned into like a punk band. And it almost like, because they had that record in the mid 2000s, and it almost felt like that was their way of being more underground. Like, we're so black metal, like we're gonna go in the opposite direction. Because they have that song Canadian Metal, if you remember that one, and hiking metal punk, like very, very silly songs. Like this is the band that did Blazing the Northern Sky. And then and the album, I don't want to call it a joke because the songs are all really good, but it feels a little tongue in cheek. Whereas Satyricon, sorry, if you wanted to comment on that.
Well, I haven't listened to any of the later Darkthrone stuff, so I don't know. I'll still listen to some of the, early 90s stuff, once in a while. That's, my generation of records. So I haven't followed the band. So I really don't know what they're up to these days.
Yeah, I do recommend listening to it. I'd have to pull it up. It is, Too Old, Too Cold was they did an EP and they had a Susie and the Banshees cover on it. And it's a very, like for Darkthrone, it's very strange, but it doesn't feel like they're trying to sell out. It feels like they're trying to do the opposite of selling out. Like, because Darkthrone is a very strange band. Like, they're like pretty normal guys, but just the direction that they took, it was like almost like we want to be more cult than we already are. So we're kind of gonna alienate our audience even more, because I found a lot of people that didn't like black metal liked that release, and I don't think people that like Darkthrone didn't like it, but it doesn't sound anything like Darkthrone. It's like a completely different record. But Satyricon, like after Volcano, they kind of became a different band. And what I'm getting at with this is bands feel a need to evolve their sound, and then they eventually stop sounding like that band. So the point is, like, what do you do to keep Dark Funeral sounding like Dark Funeral? Because obviously it's you, so all the songs sound like what you would write, obviously. But because I have a release that just came out, and I'm working on my next one, and I'm like thinking like, okay, the song's written, I should evolve it this way. And then eventually it's just like, this doesn't sound like my own stuff, because I feel the temptation to constantly change it so it sounds different for my sake. So what do you do to keep in your Dark Funeral lane, not just the Lord Ahriman lane, because that will always be you?
Well, I don't know. I guess I got my way of writing, but I'm still trying to, evolve and, challenge myself in the songwriting and also with the playing all the time. So, but I don't know. But I guess, the main foundation from where I come from, I mean, I have a strong way of, the way I write music. And that's just the way I am as a songwriter. If I would like to, I mean, I've always been saying like this, if I would like to do something different, music wise, I wouldn't bring it in to Dark Funeral, because then it's better to do a side project and do another band.
That basically answers my question. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I am, but now I haven't been doing so much things on the side, but it's like, guesting with Cavalera. It's got to be something different. It's got to be something very special if I do something other than Dark Funeral, because Dark Funeral is my life. And I get lots of questions from bands, from other black metal bands. Can you, record some stuff on this song and that song? But I feel like I'm doing the best black metal I can with Dark Funeral. So why would I spend time for another black metal band, and bring some stuff for them? It doesn't make any sense to me. So if I would do something, on the side, it's got to be something totally different from Dark Funeral. Otherwise, it's pointless for me.
Interesting. I've seen oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's just me,
Yeah, I had noticed I watched like an interview of you talking kind of about like some of your influences, and that you're 4 or 5 years old listening to Black Sabbath and Judas Priest, but then when you got a little older, maybe I think it was, you said maybe 10 or 11, you started listening to like the German metal scene, and you were like the only one who was listening to this crazy music. What bands did you like from that German scene? Was it like the German thrash bands like Sodom and those? And how do you Scorpions too? Yeah, and how do you kind of because how do you not conform, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because you know, and look at you now. I mean, you obviously made the right decision, but you can have a lot of people in your ear saying, oh, you're listening to this crazy stuff or whatever, but then you're the only one. So I'd like to kind of pick your brain on that.
Yeah, well, I was kind of used to hear from my friends like, what the fuck you're listening to, what's this, and you know, but it didn't, you know, it's, you know, and never, people always told me things that I can't do this or that, you know, ever since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I always, you know, everybody who knows me, all you know, my childhood friends, you know, when I meet them, they always say like, you always walk your own way, you always did things your way, you didn't care about what anybody else said, and that's just always been me, you know.
Yeah.
There's no way no one can, you know, try to turn me into doing something that I'm not 100%, you know, into.
Yeah, I think that answers the
so
songwriting stuff too. that you don't bend for
I do
anyone.
it my way.
Yeah, I love that.
It's my way or the highway. Yeah. No, but you know, I just do things my way. Take it or leave it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Some people love it, some people hate it. I mean, that's that's the way it is. And I'm not going to change for anybody.
Do you like Megadeth?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're kind of you have a Dave Mustaine approach to music.
Well, I don't know really.
As far as songwriting,
you know,
and direction, I mean.
I mean, he's an amazing songwriter. I mean, I listened to Megadeth since the first record. You know, that's the thing. You know, with my generation, I grew up with from the first metal that came. You know, and then I've been through all the different genres when you know when they came. But I ended up, you know, with black metal because that's where my soul and heart is. But I still listen, you know, as I said in the beginning, I still listen to the bands I grew up with, you know, and that type of music. But when it comes to songwriting, that's a complete different thing.
What is the most recent release that you've picked up or listened to? I don't know. Do you do Spotify or that, or do you still buy physical copies of music?
Sometimes I buy vinyls. No CDs, but vinyls. But I usually listen to Tidal or Spotify.
So what was the most
I
recent?
can't remember.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's got to be the new Judas Priest songs.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Are you happy with those? Do you like Richie Falconer? You think he's a good successor?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's doing an amazing job, I think, and he's just phenomenal live on stage too. So really good job.
What's your favorite Priest record?
Oh, I don't know, but I talked to a friend the other day, and we talked about live records. And I said, well, one of my favorite live records is still Priest Live. It's always going to be my favorite live record. Nothing can beat that because I have so many memories from when that was released in 88, I think, 87, 88.
Yeah, because that was the Turbo tour, I believe.
Oh, yeah, maybe. But
yeah,
it's just a killer set list on that live record and the feeling to it. Yeah, so at the moment I would say that live record.
I have a book called Sound of the Beast: The Complete Headbanging History of Heavy Metal, and it has these kind of like top whatever, and one of them is the best faked live records, and Unleashed in the East by Judas Priest is on there. And I always thought that was weird because, as far as I know, that is not a fake live album. Like that's a real live album. And Rob Halford claims that he had the there's footage because the opening song is Exciter, and he claimed that he saw the footage because that album's from the 70s, and it's not like today where you can you have a camera in your pocket and you can just take it out and you can film full band sets in 4K with decent sound quality. So back then you had to do it with a camera, but he claims that he saw someone was able to film the opening of that album. And it's interesting that you say that Priest Live is your favorite over Unleashed in the East, but I think it just comes down to the set list for Priest Live.
Well, it's also the feeling of the record. But I guess also about, as I said, the timing when it came, it just where I was in life, at that time. So that record really meant a lot to me, when it came. It just symbolizes certain things, personal things for me. Maybe that's why that live record is, mean more to me than the other.
I have that one on DVD. I think that was the first concert I ever bought. Would you say, is Priest your favorite band? Because you've mentioned them multiple times. Or is it
I have so many
hard to pick? Yeah.
bands that I like. Yeah, it's difficult to say.
It's like however you're feeling in a day. I find that the weather affects the bands that I listen to. Do you ever get that?
What do you mean?
Like when it's hot out, like spring or summertime, that's when I turn the thrash metal on. Like winter, if I'm not listening to like black metal, I'll be listening to like The Cure or like Depeche Mode. Like fall, like that's the death metal time. But I always listen to Weird Al. Weird Al is my favorite artist.
I go for, music follows my mood.
Mm-hmm.
Not
the seasons
kind of
or the weather.
Yeah. Not the weather forecast.
Well, I think the weather affects my mood, so that's probably what it comes down to. Like
of course, it always affects a little bit, but it's nothing that stands before what kind of music I choose to listen to.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I am interested. What do you like outside of metal? I want to get to know the man behind the armor.
Well, I listen to metal, all genres of metal, and then gothic rock. I guess that's it,
Like Christian Death.
Too much.
Would you?
Yeah, there's so many good gothic rock bands, from the 80s up to today. So,
do you like The Cure? There's kind of a line there. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, they have lots of good songs.
So what's is there any bands that are new and up and coming bands that either are like influenced by you or that you've taken under your wing or anyone like that? Or like we're trying to see like what's the next generation? What are we going to expect? And how is the music scene, how do you see it going forward, or what would you like to see?
It's going straight to hell.
That's the nature of the show.
Oh my god!
Yeah. But I never, I never talk shit about the younger generation of bands and stuff. But one thing I realized when I listen to, you have those new release playlists on Spotify. Sometimes I put them on and then I see what other people are listening to at the moment, and I don't understand. I just
Same
don't
way.
get it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to complain on them. It's just, I don't want to be one of those fucking guys, when I grew up who was, picking on the younger kids, what they were listening to. I don't want to be one of those guys, but I guess I just don't understand Man on the New bands. It's not my kind of music.
Yeah,
I'm too old school for that.
Same here.
Well,
really.
I know because I've had conversations with people outside my generation, like, you know, older people. And like they've said, like, oh, that argument has been going on forever. Everyone's generation has like, well, music used to be good in my day, but I think now is the first time where I would say most people that find music as a hobby and as a release, I would say they genuinely hate modern music. Like I used to not like a lot of older pop, but now I have a greater appreciation because what music studios used to do is they would find someone with talent and they would exploit them. Where now what they do is they turn someone into an artist. They have 15 producers make their music. They use all sorts of digital effects to make them sound appealing. And the music sounds like it was made in a science lab. I think the younger generation only likes it because that's what's made available. Because we had a guy who worked at MTV at the height of, like, in the 80s Headbangers Ball, like in metal's mainstream peak. And he said they told them to just stop playing metal. Like it wasn't like this stuff isn't popular anymore. No, there was an order given out, like, do not put this out there. So, and I maintain this, that metal was killed. People didn't lose interest in it. And that's why Dark Funeral's still going strong. And there's still bands that are coming out and they want to sound like Dark Funeral, bands that want to sound like Megadeth, bands that want to sound like Death. That's all, like, it's all popping up where all these other kind of, we'll call them just flash in the pan trends. No one wants to sound like all the rock genres that came after that. Like, how many bands now sound like Limp Bizkit? I can't name one.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's if you can't name it, then it's not that popular. But there's still plenty at, like, Warbringer, Havoc. Like there's lots of really good younger Municipal Waste. There's a lot of good younger bands that strong metal bands. But the other music, it really just withered and died. Where I think metal is timeless and it probably is the most popular genre of rock and roll that's ever existed because all the other stuff came and went. And for how big Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath were, you'd think more bands would sound like Black Sabbath, which you could say, well, that's the uniqueness of Black Sabbath, but people are still trying to sound like Iron Maiden and Metallica. And just 40 years later.
Yeah, but metal will always be the biggest genre, but it's like the music business and the media have always been like, I don't know, putting it in the closet. I don't know why, but I had that discussion with Swedish national TV a couple of months ago. Did a kind of throwback. I went to my hometown. They wanted to do a TV reportage about, you know, where I started before Dark Funeral, where I started playing, 30 years ago up in my hometown. And then I brought up and said in the interview that it's a fucking shame that, looking how big metal are, worldwide, and looking how big Swedish metal, all genres, Swedish metal is worldwide. There's no one in this fucking country who give any credit to any of the metal bands. Well, there's a few. Because there's some fucking inbreed bullshit going on in the media. So it's like 5 bands who are in the magazines, in the news all the time, like every fucking year. Same bands, so boring, and everybody say the same. There's no other band that comes in. Just an example. Every metalhead probably in Sweden were complaining, for this music award, biggest music award we have in Sweden called P3 Gold. Every metalhead say every year, like, oh, there's never any metal bands who win, real metal bands who win the metal category. So Dark Funeral wins the metal category. Do you think there was any news in any of the metal magazine in Sweden? Nothing. So keep on fucking complaining, because we were not one of those 5 bands who get all the attention in the Swedish media. they kind of suffocate the whole scene. There's so many good bands in Sweden that totally deserve more recognitions within our country. But that's why most Swedish bands are going outside the country, and we are bigger. Every band are bigger outside Sweden because nobody, in the business care about the Swedish metal bands here. And it's just a disgrace.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
disgraceful.
Which is really unfortunate because like there are so many powerful Swedish acts like Entombed, Armageddon, John Hedlund, they're legends came from there, and that's the same here. Like, I guess you could say it all goes back to. Do you recall the controversy at the Grammys in 1988 when Jethro Tull won? It's not something like people just know it through pop culture because it was the year And Justice for All came out, and that was that album was really Metallica's big break because everyone knows the Black Album. But And Justice for All sold 3 million copies. So this was like the first time kind of a small independent act kind of blew up. And I don't even think they were nominated. And then a band, Jethro Tull, which, Jethro Tull is what they are. I wouldn't call them a hard rock band. I mean, they're certainly rock and roll and they're unique in their own way. But the other bands that had major releases that year were AC/DC and Ozzy Osbourne, and then Jethro Tull beats. And say what you want about Metallica, I will, but And Justice for All probably deserved to win as far as because those award ceremonies. It's more like what is the most commercially acceptable compared to popular with fans. That's really what it is because that probably wasn't the best metal release of 1988. But I understand why that would be there. But Jethro Tull, that band didn't deserve to be nominated, let alone win. And it got such a backlash that they gave Metallica like 97 awards for the Black Album just because everyone was like, wait, I thought they broke up 20 years ago, and then just oops. Yeah, they didn't think that it would be such a controversy. Like the media, I don't want to say they're out of touch. They just don't care. And they didn't expect that people like the metal was that popular that people would say, "What are you doing? Why did you not give this to Metallica?" And then they had to hear it all day. So the Grammys actually did cave to Metallica fans. How do you feel about the Black Album?
Well, now I can appreciate it, but when it came, it was kind of let down, from the earlier stuff, because I was more into, more extreme metal at that time. But now I think it's a good record.
I stand by that it is probably the best produced metal record of all time.
That's why I can't understand why they are fucking recording crappy production nowadays. They have the money. I don't get it. I mean, they've done some fantastic record and production. When And Justice for All came, I mean, even Master of Puppet, they were ahead of time with the production. What are they doing now? It's like, come on.
Did you listen to 72 Seasons?
Go back to, going back to the roots doesn't mean it's got to sound dirty and shitty. They can go back, to the roots and really, make a powerful production, which probably was going to give the new songs, more power. But I don't know why they're doing like they are. I don't get it. There's only, complaints I have on Metallica. They should work on the production. They've done some fantastic stuff in the past. They can do better.
Did you listen to Hordes of Chaos by Creator? Do you recall that one from 2009?
I'm really bad on album, but I listened to Creator, of course.
Yeah, so they had, it was their album after Enemy of God, which was kind of their we're gonna return to our thrash metal roots. And Hordes of Chaos, it does sound like classic Creator, but they said, let's go back to the beginning, and they recorded it on an 8-track, but it actually sounds good. Like, it doesn't sound like a terrible demo recorded in the back of a van on an answering machine. Like, it's a good sounding album. And yes, like, going back to the roots doesn't mean like let's have the worst
production.
possible recording. Yeah. Like, you could, like, albums sounded good in the 80s. It's not like like Boston had good production in the 70s. Like, and they had great production. Like, it doesn't, and you know, this is long before digital. Like, we had Andy LaRock on, and he was talking about like digital production versus analog, and he says like, there's
no undo button.
Yeah, now there's an undo button.
Yeah.
And like, you can still get that old classic 80s analog sound with digital recording. Like, in this day and age, like, almost every modern release is overproduced. Like, you don't have to make it sound like it came out of a science lab. Like, you can give it a little raw sound, but I think a lot of bands, they go the other way. Like, let's make it as raw as possible. Because remember when people liked our first album? Well, it sounded like crap. Maybe that's why they liked it. Like, no, people like the songs.
No, exactly. And also there was a reason why the production sounded like they did in the 80s and the 90s. Both the budget, and you didn't have much money to spend in the studio. There was not many studios who could really, make a good production. So it was part of the time. You can't achieve that honesty initiated production these days in the same way as you did back in the day, because that was just how it was. Now there's no point in making a shaded production.
Well, yeah, especially well, yeah, there's no point, of course, because right now the technology to make music, it's never been more available. So anyone can do it. Like, because my last album, I would say the production is not good, but that's because I did it all myself, and it was really just a learning experience. It doesn't sound terrible, but you have
songs are good.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound as bad as like Absurd's release or like the Hellhammer demos. Like, it sounds listenable, but to make things that, like, I'm going to go out of my way to make it sound crappy, so, like, especially when you can afford not to. It's so uncreative. Like, here's our gimmick. It sounds bad. That's not a good gimmick. That's like imagine going to a fancy restaurant and then like every dish they put like a pound of salt on it. It's like, isn't it unique that it tastes terrible and it's unedible? Like, no, that's not a good gimmick. It's like, if you have the good songs, and you can afford the good production, which most people can now. Like, how much does a DAW? What's like $500? You can get Reaper probably for free. You just have a decent amp, and you can record. Anybody out there, like, you can record a solid album, and if you don't know how to mix it or master it, like, you can probably get some sound engineering student who can do it pretty well for pretty cheap. There's no excuse to make things sound bad anymore.
Yeah.
No, I guess Metallica needs to change producer.
Well, they got rid of Bob Rock.
That's what it comes down to. Yeah, I don't know, but hopefully they, pick a good one for the next record.
Yeah, their most recent record was, we talked about it on this show. It's a chore to get through. It is rough, but nothing that they do moving forward will ever be as bad as Saint Anger.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Right.
The production doesn't give justifies to the songs. Maybe the songs would be pretty all right if with a good production, but the production is so bad, so you can't even listen to it.
Right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
At least I can't listen to that record.
No, and I'm curious. What? I mean, maybe you haven't thought of this. Maybe you have. Is there something you would want to do either personally, professionally, musically going forward? Is there something that like you haven't done yet? I mean, you've traveled the world, you've been everywhere, done everything. Is there something you still haven't done or want to do?
Of course, there's lots of stuff.
Well, what would be your pick one? Pick one.
Yeah.
Well, I can't actually mention, but I'm working on some stuff on the side
Okay.
of all this, and that's something that haven't been done before. So, and that's something I wanted to do for a long time. So, but it is, it's still gonna take some time until it's finished.
Okay. Yeah, that's exciting.
Well,
Yeah, but I thought, when you have time off from touring, lots of ideas come up, and you're like, and there's also things that been been there in the back of the head for long time, like maybe I should do this or that, and now I try to take one thing at a time and really actually do it, not like I should do it. I'm actually gonna do it. There's no reason to think about it anymore. Just fucking do it.
I love that.
But yeah, and but it's I'm kind of putting the bar kind of high when I go into this project. So that's why it's time consuming and lots of work. And that's what I said in the beginning when we talked, that at the moment I have like so many different things going on that I need to, that's why I try to get back to dark funeral music and try to get back on focus on that, because I can't be doing a million things at the same time. That nothing gonna be completed ever. It's just gonna be some small things happening here and there, and yeah. But that's also the way I am. I can't focus on too many things at the same time. I gotta really go into the world of each project and just close the door behind me and finish it.
Wow. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Focusing one thing at a time, make it the best you possibly can, and then moving on. And where can we find you? Is there anything you'd like to plug in? I know you're working on these other businesses, the t-shirts, like everything. I mean, where can the audience find you at?
Well, first of all, official Dark Funeral website is darkfuneral.se. Then I have a web store, lauraahriman.com. And we're on all the social media, YouTube and Facebook, Instagram, both me personally and obviously the band. You can find us on Spotify, Tidal, and all the streaming services. And so just type in Dark Funeral and or Lord Ahriman, and you're going to find me and the band. Fantastic.
No, this is oh, go ahead, AC.
I was going to say this has been a treat, and I do want to thank you for coming on. This has been great. You are a true legend and a king, and I'm glad to hear that you are back to fighting fit.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, life is a struggle, but I'm stubborn. I never give up.
Yeah.
With everything, just you're gonna work hard to achieve whatever.
Yes, and you're a hard worker and still at it, bigger than ever. It's very excited for 2024.
The 31st.
Yeah, we got some stuff lined up, so we'll see when we can reveal what's going on.
All right.
Well, I hope you could come back. We loved having you. You're an absolute treat today. I'm very thankful for you to come on and kind of catering to our schedule. That was not expected and very, very kind of you. We are extremely gracious for your time today.
Well, yeah. Well, it's all about timing. Now it works, and I'm going on vacation in a couple of days. So.
Oh wow, lucky
us. Very good. Yeah, no, yeah, it's an extreme treat. I don't mean to what's that?
Go ahead. Finish your point.
No, you can go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna talk about our break song.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Lord Orman, he was gracious enough to let us pick. So I'm gonna say our break song this week is "My Dark Desires" from The Secrets of the Black Art.